dead entering the afterlife like she did with Osiris. Her function as a goddess was with Nephthys, guardians of the coffin of the deceased, where they appeared as women with long wings or as kites who keep vigil over corpses. Their wailing at the death of the god Osiris earned to both goddesses the reputation of weeping sisters that became the prototype for all common mourners. Following the myth of resurrection, like the creator deity Adam-Ra, Isis was able to produce life without an active partner. So by stimulating the inertness of Osiris and taking his seed, she impregnated herself from his cadaver as he was entering the underworld as its ruler. And from the god's semen, Isis conceived then gave birth to Horus, the son whom she knew will overthrow the usurper Seth. She hid the newborn and brought him up to avenge his late father. In the fight that opposed Horus against Seth, Isis stabbed her brother with her magical harpoon but spared his life when he reminded her of their brotherhood. Angered by this betrayal, Horus cut his mother's head off, but this couldn't kill the goddess who was no longer mortal. After this incident, the gods gave her a new head, which is sometimes shown as that of a cow. Horus later instilled himself into the king of Egypt during life, and Osiris took over on death. By contrast to this version, most sources from the first millennium make Isis the implacable enemy of Seth. She took many forms to lure, to hunt down and to destroy the god and his followers. The kind of unselfish love that Isis displays toward Osiris and Horus has been rarely seen elsewhere in the myth scriptures. Her role in the cult of Osiris extended her sphere of influence far beyond that of her son. However, by becoming the mother of Horus in the second millennium, she came to be regarded as the divine mother and guardian of all mortal kings of Egypt. Temples and shrines for worshipping the goddess existed throughout the Egyptian civilization. The rites and ceremonies honoring the goddess were commonly held by Egyptian pharaohs who proclaimed that their prosperity came from the Nile, which they believed to have been formed by the tears Isis shed for her consort. The Egyptian worship of the deity reached its peak when worshippers built the Great Temple at Philae, a religious center for Egyptians and Nubians alike, and started to be considered as the most important sanctuary of Isis, and remained active until the 7th century. The goddess Isis was as well popular within the Greco-Roman world. After the arrival of Greeks to Egypt, the temples devoted to Isis were established in the new city of Alexandria, spreading the religion beyond North Africa to Greece. While in the Roman Empire, temples of Isis hosted cults of secret religious initiations to the promise of eternal life. It was a cornerstone of the Roman religion and remained this way until being replaced by Christianity. The worship of Isis occurred in many other regions of the ancient world, generating hundreds of images of the goddess that reflect on distinct cultures. In his book concerning Isis and Osiris, Plutarch suggested that the all-powerful Isis allowed herself to be portrayed as a woman of sorrows to console humanity. Plus, her promise to believe of a happy afterlife made the Isis cult the closest rival to Christianity. In fact, there is much argument that this cult influenced the portrayal of the Christian Virgin Mary, often referred to as Stella Maris, represented in heaven by the North Star, and whose portraits with the Christ often bear a striking similarity to those of Isis with Horus. It has been speculated that the recurring themes of resurrection, virgin birth and the divine trinity of Isis, Osiris and Horus came to influence early Christian thought and philosophy. But the evidence for this influence is ambiguous and often controversial.
Isis and Osiris, the first love story in history. Hello, my name is Isis, and I will tell you my story. I live in the era of the pharaohs. We believe in the existence of the god of the earth, called Geb, and the god of the heaven, called Nut. Geb and Nut got married. Then they had 4 children, 2 boys called Osiris and Set, and 2 girls called Nephthys and me, Isis. The pharaohs believed that brothers can marry their sisters, so Set and Nephthys got married. Also, Osiris and I got married. I was so happy. I loved Osiris so much. At this time, my husband was the king who ruled the whole country. He was very fair and popular among his people. Our brother Set was jealous and very angry of Osiris because he wanted to rule the country himself, so he decided to get rid of our brother. He made a trap to kill my husband and became the king himself. Set decided to have a party and invited all the people, and the most important person is Osiris. It was a very big and luxurious party. We were surprised when Set brought a huge box, which was made in an elaborate manner. It was a golden box. Then he said it was a golden coffin, and it is a gift for anyone who has the same measurement with it. No one knew that he designed the coffin with the same size as my husband. Everyone was happy and started to lay inside the coffin to check if they had the required measurements or not. They were all depressed because no one had the required measurements except Osiris, who fitted the coffin exactly. Set closed the coffin while Osiris was still inside it and threw it in the Nile River, thinking that this way he would get rid of him forever, but he was wrong. I was shocked and felt very sad. I thought that I had lost my husband forever, but my love is very strong, so I decided to search for my husband's body. My search continued for many days, and when I finally found him, he was dead. Unfortunately, when Set knew that I found my husband's body, he took it away from me and ripped the body into 42 pieces. Not just that, he also threw every piece in a different place through Egypt. I didn't give up and started collecting the pieces of my husband's body together. After I collected all the pieces, I asked help from Anubis, the god of embalming and the dead, and together we restored Osiris alive. We were finally together again, but happiness didn't last too long. We had our son Horus, but my husband Osiris couldn't stay alive anymore. I said goodbye to my beloved husband, Osiris, who became the god of the underworld, and I tried to protect my only son from Set. I decided to raise my son well and make him strong enough to take revenge of Set and become the king, the ruler of Egypt when he grew up. That was my own story.